tonight. Good evening to you, Nana. What's coming up on PM Express? No sex discussions, I hope.
Well, good evening, Israel. Just imagine two chickens, one from China, one from Accra. So Chicken Lee...
They're not having sex?
No, they're not having sex.
Good.
No, they're not having sex. But Chicken Lee travels all the way from China. Chicken Aite travels from Accra. They end up on a plate of food in Osu. But guess what? The one that came from China is cheaper. Is that not amazing? We are discussing the poultry industry in Ghana, and I'll be talking to Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisio. It's going to be very insightful, Israel.
Thank you very much. So we'll be tuning in to the show. PM Express is coming up right after.
Evening and welcome to PM Express. My name is Nana Ansakwa. Now today we're looking at the poultry industry in Ghana. It's such an unfortunate story, isn't it? It's like one industry sitting there waiting to employ loads of people, generate lots of money for the state. However, the willingness or the commitment towards industry has always been lacking. And the association and people who are in the poultry industry are forever crying for subsidies. They are crying foul, and they're saying, why do we keep importing the same birds from other countries which end up on our plates cheaper than we can produce them? Is it just as simple as that? With me in the studio to discuss this issue is Dr. Louisa Hannah Bisio, who is the Deputy Minister for Agriculture. Doctor, welcome.
Thank you.
I mean, for the interview, can I call you Hannah? You know.
No, that's fine.
Good. Good. Hannah, I want to start with the geese or the chickens or the bird eggs that arrived here from China. And China is supposed to have bird flu problems, so you don't export or you don't import, we won't import birds from there. That's number one. But then I want to find out, what does it take to, the chicken eggs to leave China to come to Ghana? Don't they have to go through some sort of immigration forms or regulations, and then would have stopped them from there, or how does it work?
Well, do I call you Nana?
Call me Nana.
Okay. Well, Nana, first of all, I want to take the opportunity to say good evening to your viewers. As to how they leave the shores of China, I wouldn't be able to say. But as to what happens or the kind of permit anybody will have to get before you bring in any form of veterinary products into the country, you need to sort permit first from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Even any form of meat import, we give permits which is renewable every 3 months, and a quantity that you can bring into the country. And so, in a nutshell, we have controls. It means that if you don't have the permit, you can't import. Basically, that is what it is. But as to what measures they have in China, but I can't tell. But if you should bring any meat product from any country, you should also come with health certificates.
Okay.
That shows that it's healthy and it meets all the requirements. Regardless, we will still have to check the papers, and then that's when we give you permit, and when it comes, then you can go ahead after the necessary inspections are done at the ports, and then you can clear your goods.
I'm sure these are not the first products that have arrived at our port that are not legal or permissible to come to Ghana. What was the big fuss about these geese eggs?
Okay. First of all, I would say that we don't have, if you want to put it, a perfect system in place or an excellent system in place. I think that we are all working towards, achieving excellence at the various sectors. China is a country that is bird flu endemic. When you say bird flu endemic, it means that they have issues with bird flu. And so Ghana, we don't import, birds from China. So period. We don't allow it at all.
Okay.
Cooked, uncooked, eggs, any form. And so this, if it had gone through, then it would have been another illegal import into the country. But thank God that with the effective collaboration, between the SERPs and the veterinary officers at the airport, and of course the immigration officers as well, they were able to find, to apprehend these Chinese nationals. They came into the country probably as tourists or something, and they had 2 suitcases stuffed with straws and then perforated. Then they had the geese eggs inside. But it looks like they had already incubated these eggs in China, and so it was at a point where they were ready to hatch. So the whole plan was that's why they perforated them. The whole plan was that by the time they get to Ghana, they might have started hatching the eggs, so that the ducklings would then now get air to breathe, and then they could send them to wherever they were taking them to. So when they were going through the custom check, then the custom officers alerted the vets that they suspect they had found those things in those 2 suitcases. And when the vets realized that they were coming from China, they immediately, informed the customs officers not to even touch the ducklings nor the eggs.
How did they explain? I mean, were they going to rear it and eat it, or rear it and sell it, or?
Well, from all indications, they were taking it to a farm located in Tema.
Okay.
And the unfortunate thing is that whilst we're going through the process, they escaped and left the 2 suitcases. So they were carried to the veterinary services department, where they were properly disposed of or destroyed. And so they were bringing those birds in to a poultry farm, a farm in Tema, to rear them and sell them to us on our market.
Do we have geese in Ghana?
Yeah, we do, but of course, probably not in the large quantities. But whether we have them or not, the point is that we do not import these birds, any form of bird, from China.
No, I was just wondering why they wouldn't, go and get these eggs from Ghana to...
Fine, or they could have even gotten it from anywhere else. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, if we don't, that you have this problem. And I'm sure that if China or if Ghana had, if it was the other way around, you wouldn't dare. I know countries where, because we have mouth and foot disease of the cattle, you can't carry beef. That is their law. If cooked, fried, the way we cook our food, anyhow, they will not allow you to enter the country with even the cooked fried beef, because they don't they don't want it. They don't want to take the risk, because when you finish, you are going to dispose of the bones, and then through decomposition, then it can also, infest their land and all sort of things. So they were not supposed to have brought these birds in. So what is the fuss about it? The fuss that, why we are doing this is that it's a country endemic with bird flu. And now they smuggled these eggs, in a normal suitcase, the way they brought them.
But they run away.
Yes, but we are getting them. We get them. Okay. We get them by the grace of God, because we've been able to locate the farm.
Okay.
And so we will be able to also get everybody involved in this particular case, because the danger is that they were going to come into the country, probably infested with bird flu. They have it. They just send them, but next time you realize there's an outbreak of bird flu, and you wouldn't really know where it's coming from.
I mean, God forbid it happens, but are we prepared just in case?
That is the issue. I certainly am not in the position to actually say that, with the public health and other things, whether we are fully prepared for the bird flu. But if even you are prepared for something, and it comes in and you don't know, and with our nature, okay, I'll give you the issues of anthrax, for instance. Sometimes you go to a community and, there are cattle, because they are dying. And some think it's a curse. And some will even bury these animals before the vet gets there. Some will cook them and eat them. Some will cut and sell. And so there's this, it becomes very difficult for you to even get to the point where you can actually give the proper advice and even control. So because we have our culture and background, the way we live, our form of living, you wouldn't want that anybody should smuggle anything of this nature from a country like China. If you know it's coming from China and you are prepared, it's different. But when you don't know and it gets into the system, that is where the danger. That is where the danger is. So for us, it was very good, even though we suspect that probably something of that nature might have come into the country already.
Authorities been to the farm to make sure there are no, goose lees or goose jackies walking around from China?
Well, at this point, I want to limit anything that I want to say about the farm because we've located and we don't want anything to go.
Are going on.
Yes, that's what we are doing now. And so I'm sure that at the appropriate time,
since everything
will come out, yes.
Hannah, but once you're here and we are talking about goose and we are talking about birds, then obviously we need to look at the poultry sector. Why has the state been wicked towards poultry farmers?
Wow.
The state.
No,
because I don't want to limit it to your government. It's been always government after government after government. Oh, we give you grants, we will do you this, we will do you that. But it never seems to materialize. The price of corn, the price of their vaccines. And like I gave the analogy that, you have one chicken that leaves Beijing. Now I can imagine it leaves the poultry farm and it goes in the car. So they have to pay for transportation, go somewhere where it gets killed and plugged. They pay for it. They pay for storage. They pay to go on a ship. It comes to Tema. You pay for another, you clear it. You pay for transportation to a cold store. And still it's cheaper than, chicken that left Kokomlemle 2 Osu on the same plate. I mean, the difference is vast. If you look at all these charges that Chicken Lee had to go through to end up in Osu and still works out more expensive, it means we have dealt these farmers a big blow.
No, I wouldn't say that the state has been wicked to the farmers as you put it. I think that the state has been doing a lot to support, the poultry industry. But one or the other, I would not want to condemn any meat from as far as the quality and even the taste is concerned, and you may want to even find out the grade that, the grades that are imported or exported from those countries to Ghana. That's something that we'll have to look at probably some other time. But as we sit here, feed, anything on livestock, okay, we waive the taxes of them. And it's a way that government is subsidizing through the feed, for...
So chicken, there's no taxes on chicken feed?
No, not only chicken, any form of livestock. If it's for pigs, if it's for cattle, any form of livestock. There are no taxes.
And vaccines?
The vaccines too, there are no taxes on them.
Okay.
Any medication, apart from the pets, when it comes to veterinary, apart from what is used for the dogs and cats, but for the food animals, I call them the economic animals or the livestock, we don't,
Since when?
For long. We've been given tax waivers on these products, but that's something that is happening. Okay, people are taking advantage of that. And so they are bringing in a huge quantity of feed into the country. They get the waiver, so it becomes cheaper for them. Then they bring in sacks as well, bags. They get the waiver. And what they do is to rebag the feed and export it out of the country. You understand? Our point here is not to, let's say, give you cheap product for you to go and sell it cheaper in another country. No. It's for us to give you something cheap so that, you sell it cheaper to our locals here so that they can also afford, and then they can bring up their birds, and then the birds, after the cost of production will also come down. But because of the tax waves.
But when you say feed, because I know it's predominantly corn and, little dry fishes and stuff that they use to make the feed. That's from the layman point of view. Do they import these things, or they found
these
locally?
They import the ingredients and some sort of additives, and then they do the mixture, then they come up with the whole feed. So as we speak now, government has put things in place to attract, investors who want to put up, like feed mills in the country. You go to Nungwa Farms, for instance, we have a feed mill that can produce in an hour or less than an hour a ton of feed. And so if it should work for 8 or 10 hours a day, we should be getting more than probably 10 tons, of feed. Now we have a lot of maize in the system. Where we have challenges is the soya bean, where we don't have it in big quantities. So people come in with some of these products, and when they come in fact, we waive of every form of tax on it for them.
I have Kojo Asante on the line, and Kojo is the chairman of the Association of Poultry Farmers. Kojo, good evening.
Good evening.
Kojo, you don't have a problem. Taxes on vaccines have been waived.
Can you raise your voice a bit for me?
Okay. Can you hear me, Kojo?
Yes.
Very good. I mean, all I'm saying is that I think poultry farmers, your Christmas has arrived because taxes have been waived on your vaccines, on the feeds, and on everything. Most of the things that you import to breed the birds with have been waived. So things should be cheaper now.
Hello?
Hello, Kojo, can you hear me?
The line is really faint.
The line is really faint. I don't know if we're going to try another line, but okay, I lost him there. We'll try and get him back. Because I was just trying to find out what their complaints are, because if indeed taxes are being waived and the other additives that are being imported, can't we do them locally? I mean, we've been
we don't have the plants in Ghana. Okay, we just don't have them. So now people are coming in, bringing proposals. They have interest in, setting up these plants. And we're also looking at all the various proposals because we don't also want people to, come in because they know they will enjoy some sort of incentives. Ghana is used, and then there's the excuse of saying, well, we are creating jobs.
Hannah, has anybody got some of these plants within the West African region? Togo, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast. Has anybody got one of these plants?
I haven't done that investigation yet. I haven't.
Because I was just thinking, if maybe we put our last in these plants, then there could be a certain market for us. I was just thinking.
Exactly, no. But the issue here is this. Anything that we do towards the poultry industry is to boost the local production. Okay. But if we should say that, well, we are putting up the plant to serve the sub-region, we end up not serving very well the people of Ghana. Okay. And then the government of Ghana is subsidizing something for the benefit of another country. Okay. One of the challenges that we have are the cheap imports. We import chicken bars and the legs and the heads and what have you from other countries. And I call these products as the 7th-grade rejected meat. Period. That's the way I put it. Okay, so we go and we get them in.
Okay, I got Kojo on the line again. Okay. Hello, Kojo, if you can hear me.
Yes.
Very good. Kojo, what I'm saying is I have Dr. Louisa Hanabisu here, and she tells me clearly that, taxes have been waived on the feed, the vaccines, antibiotics that you need to run your poultry. So clearly, being in the poultry industry, it should be cheaper now. And but that's not what we hear from the association. So I was just trying to find out what else you want government to do.
Thank you, and I'm the greeting to Hannah, the Deputy Minister for
Agriculture.
There's a lot of discussions going on now, but we met Honorable Hannah issue about 3 weeks ago. So we discussed a lot of the way for the poultry industry in Ghana.
Uh-huh.
So concern other ingredients with at times is supporting the poultry industry in Ghana. But at times we're supporting the other neighbors because some of those selling the goose, they can just, because we are close to Cote d'Ivoire and the other places, they can just try to find a way to take some of the product outside from the Ghana.
Okay.
So it's helping our industry, but there's a lot of discussion going on.
So then in that case, Kojo, you guys are stitching us up, because if the government is giving you all these subsidies and you are still selling chicken to us at expensive prices more than the ones that come from abroad, then you are not treating us fairly as poultry farmers.
No, it's a subsidy, but there's a direct subsidy, something like a fertilizer.
Yes.
The fertilizer, I'm giving you an example.
Uh-huh.
The fertilizer subsidy, the Minister of Agri know the farmers. They give the farmers direct.
Okay.
But the input, like somebody bring in soya and the other thing, if there's a subsidy, it doesn't go to the poultry farmer direct. There's an input dealers. Are you getting me?
I'm listening, yeah.
So, because of this reason, the discussion is going on. So we are trying to even meet Honorable Hanabisu this week to see how best we can help us. Because the benefit, it doesn't go to the poultry farmers direct. Because as I'm speaking to you, you are buying soya almost close to 100 Ghana, even some are 120 Ghana. So we don't want to dispute that there's no subsidy. But the subsidy doesn't go to the poultry farmers direct.
Okay, so
it goes to the input dealers.
Kojo, since you have an association, and I'm sure you have members, so you know that Mr. A has 100 beds, Mr. B has 300 beds. Therefore, every week he needs 10 bags of, maize and 2 bags of antibiotics. Why don't you do that so it comes directly to you, so we also get the benefit? Because the reason why the state is giving you tax exemption is to make you competitive in the market. But you guys are not making yourself competitive.
Yes, this is the reason why we appreciate so much about the effort Honorable Minister and the Honorable Deputy Minister at your studio putting in. Because we have association, but the government is making a lot of effort. But the benefit doesn't go to the farmers through the association direct. So it's now something we want to work out. If some of the support they are giving to the poultry farmers, they can come to the association, so we distribute it to our members. So this is an ongoing discussion we are now on. Like premise fuel, there's a group of people who can identify them easy at coast areas. When you are, if there's a subsidy on the premise fuel, you go to our brothers in the fishing industry. But the way the country is started, it's a bit difficult. But because we have government putting its foot down, we can reach somewhere. But it's not easy like other sectors I just mentioned, like a fertilizer and the premise fuel.
I understand. So how are you going to solve this problem?
We are meeting Honorable probably this week to see how we can discuss it further. There's a lot of things. I can't say it on the air now. I just opened my TV. I saw the Honorable Minister is there, try to come out with the new ideas. So you can solve it through local government, different assemblies, because if you want to find out about the poultry sector, the highest grower population is in the Ashanti region, followed by Brong-Ahafo and the Greater Accra. Then go to Western region and the other region. So through the new policy, local government, I'm sure municipals and the district assembly can help us to have a solid data. And the distribution can go through this system. Any area, there's a poultry, then through the district assembly concept and the Poultry Farmers Association, we can come together and see how we can benefit from this government intervention.
Stay on the line for me, Kojo. It sounds like a fairly simple strategy to do to solve the problem, where we come together. We know that within Dansoman there's 10 of us. Within Mataheko there's 5 poultry farmers, and each of them use X amount of grain or this, so that when the goods come in, we just share it so that nobody exports it. Well, if you're going to export part of your 5, then it's your business.
Well, Nana, I think you have a point, and Mr. Santos also has a point. We've been holding discussions because His Excellency has tasked the sector minister to, do what it takes, to revive the poultry industry. And the minister in turn has also directed that that he has asked to be in charge of livestock should be, meet with the directors and the stakeholders and do what it takes to make sure that the present vision, is realized. Now, what he's saying about the feed, what is happening in the country is that, let's say, businessmen import feed concentrate. And I think yesterday I asked a question that we are giving the tax exemptions without even checking the price on the market. How much is this? Are they selling this feed to the farmers? That's one thing that we've not been doing, because we trust the importers that they are going to also,
the benefit
exactly to the farmers to boost, the production of the poultry industry. Also, the other thing that he said, I think I started saying that one of the challenges that we have is people, abusing the system by bringing in a lot of feed, enjoying the tax waiver, and then exporting them, and you realize that some of these companies, the highest consumption of the feed that they bring into Ghana is not consumed in Ghana. It's consumed in other countries in the sub-region, So this is something that we decided that we are now going to put a tape measure by these companies. And so if it's 20% of your feed that remains in Ghana, we are going to give you 20% of the taxes. And we are not also going to now give waiver for people to bring in the sack to rebag this feed that we're giving waiver on for you to export, go by road and send it to the other sub-regions. You still will not be helping our poultry industry. And Ghana government is paying his part to the industry by these tax rates. Now, the Poultry Farmers Association, and they've brought up very beautiful proposals. They'll be coming again, we'll be meeting. I think that we've seen something also. They're also trying to bring in the feed. And what he suggested is good. It's something that we will discuss when we meet, as to how like the fertilizer subsidies, we can do something similar for poultry farmers. And it will not just end with the poultry farmers. We go into the pig farming as well, and we are trying to also boost the cattle industry as well, and then the livestock industry in general. But, we want to lift up this poultry industry up. Another step that we've taken is also to cut down on the number of imports that come into the country, with the poultry products.
How much are we spending on imports now?
I don't have the figure of it, but it's from the permits that come through, it's huge. But what we are doing now is that we are not allowing all that to come in. Now, whether what we are doing is working or not, Now we are putting the system in place where we can have our checks and balances as to what comes in and what period from which company and the quantity that comes in. For instance, in a period of 3 months, company A cannot bring in more than 100 metric tons. Okay, now that is up to June. From July, we are bringing it down to 75 metric tons of chicken products, 100 metric tons, 75 of pork, and then if it's beef, we leave it at 100 in a period of 3 months.
I want to take a break and then I'll come back to you, because what I want to find out is, yes, I definitely agree that you need to cut down on the imports, but is the local industry ready to, fill up the space that is left? And that's what we want to find out from Mr. Kojo Asante when we come back. Are they ready? As we are pushing government, yes, by all means, stop or reduce the amount of birds coming in. Are you ready to bridge the gap for us? We'll come back. Hello and welcome back. We are talking about the poultry situation in Ghana, and I'm sure it's not new, because every time you go out and buy a chicken, it's most probably not from Ghana. It's frozen chicken from somewhere. Sometimes you wonder, is it good quality? How old is this chicken? Where has it come from? And indeed, why can't we just breed our own chicken? Let a chicken lay an egg, let it hatch, feed it for 6 weeks, and then we can have our homemade chicken. But it's not as easy as that. Hannah was just telling me that what you're going to do now is try and limit the amount of import that any particular company can bring into the country at one time. So maybe if you can bring 100 metric tons within 3 months, the next 3 months you're going to be reduced to maybe 70. It is good if you're Ghanaian. But what I want to find out from Kojo is, are they ready to bridge that gap so that we don't get starved of chicken? Because as soon as supply exceeds demand, then prices start swelling up. Kojo, are you on the line still?
Yes.
Very good. Kojo, it's a good initiative that the state is taking. Is your association ready to bridge that gap?
Yes. We are ready for step 1 and 2.
What is step 1? Tell me.
The step 1 is we have the infrastructures.
You have
in the building, we can put the chickens inside. It's all over the country.
Okay.
And we have the capacity, experience
to do that,
to raise a broiler in this country.
The other thing I wanted to find out from you, Kojo, is that companies are shipping in this feed in lots and lots of quantities. The government is doing all it can by waiving all the taxes. And, it is clear that most of these feed are finding themselves out of Ghana. Your association, are you being vigilant? Because it goes against you in a way, because government can't seem to subsidize feed for neighboring countries. So it goes against you. Are you being vigilant, and are you reporting these things?
Yes, we are reporting regularly to the central ministers. So we are happy about the way Honorable Kofi Umado and the Honorable Hanabisi opened their doors, fresh doors for us. The reason is the poultry feed, if I'm saying feed, there's no mash feed coming from outside, but some of the ingredients. Before we can prepare one feed, mash, formula, at as we need about 11 or not less than 8 different items. Soya, maize, fish, concentrate. There's a lot of things. So if a particular company is bringing concentrate, it's one item for the feed. Maybe it contains about 50 kilos. And the one of the feed is 1,000 kilos. So the concentrate is 50 kilos. But because it's not the feed, they can take some to other neighbor countries, or they can do anything. But now we have a discussion with the Honorable Minister. The next step maybe can be somebody can prepare the feed in the country. In Accra, we have the company called GAFA. They can prepare the feed. So if there's a contract given to any importer, then all the concentrate or soya coming in, there's a subsidy. You can direct that way to maybe GAFA there's a companies in Ghana have big capacity, like Akati Farms, Agricare, Asamoah Yamua. We can direct this ingredients to them to prepare the seed for the poultry farmers in the country, because it's not the one particular item. So the reason I'm saying we are ready for step 1 and 2. The step 3 is the discussion is now ongoing through the poultry farmers and the certain ministers.
Well, very good. The other thing I wanted to find out from you, Kojo, is that I know from sources that the government also provided you with some beds that you go and rear and then, you sell it. In the form of a soft loan. So you pay back. And most of your members in the association still haven't paid back.
It's true, but it's not true. The reason is, since I've been a chairman of the Ashanti regime before, Smuggling of the before, and then now national chairman, there's no program for the Poultry Farmers Association. Mm-hmm. But so far as there's individual programs, during the MPP time, there's a national roller project business started. Now it doesn't go to the association, but individual farmers take part. There's a lot of challenges there. This is the reason why we are now happy about the second minister because now involvement of the Poultry Farmers Association. If you bring the Poultry Farmers Association in, there is a double checking there. So there's a lot of farmers who there and there. Even there's a bad name came into this country some time ago. But it doesn't distribute through the association. So it's true. But it's not through the association. But the poultry, some of the poultry farmers, we took some, they made it, and the other things. So this is the reason why I say that the three is honorable opinion is not to discuss further about.
Kojo, are you not passing the buck too quickly? I mean, the fact that they did not give the bears to the president of the association doesn't. I'm sure the people who took it were still your members, and I'm sure at the meeting you should be able to raise it and say, look, we need help from government. So whoever went to collect these beds, make sure that you pay so that government can continue to help us.
It's true, but the poultry business is something. I'm just sorry I'm not in Accra now to sit down to go through some of the challenges one by one. So much go to Christmas. You can just hear that, because from the senior minister's office, we are giving the farmers DOT to raise them for the Christmas. If you bring only DOT without seed, my brother, the farmers can go in for the DOT. If they wait for 2 weeks, there's no seed. There's a lot of challenges. One of which is a professional veterinary doctor. You know what I'm saying.
Kojo, hold on 1 second. Kojo, hold on 1 second. You see, I was going to talk about loans for their sector, but then yes. If I were the government, I wouldn't give you a loan, because if I've given you chicken and you sold the chicken and haven't paid me, then I wouldn't give you a loan. I will give you a loan on the street value, 30%, 28%, and then chase you for it. I mean, because at the end of the day, you turn around and tell me that, oh no, it wasn't me, and or something. So I'm stuck. I don't see how I can even argue on your behalf that, let's give them loans to help the sector. I mean, I don't know, Hannah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that all the chicken gives some of the poultry, they are our members. But the time they give the chicken is a wrong time. But because the DOTs are right. My brother, myself, if you ask, I can mention that if you ask one Dr. Akunzulu, sometimes 2 a.m., I was waiting in the airport to receive some of the DOT on behalf of the poultry farmers.
What is GOG? Can you explain it to the layman? Yes. What is GOG so that the layman can understand? What's GOG?
DOC.
DOC. Okay, DOC.
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 So the DOC come out today, like today is a Tuesday, arrive from maybe Holland or from abroad today. Mm-hmm. And then the following day, the best is not going to receive feed for the best. Now, all the poultry farmers going to have a challenge, the growth of the best. But since I joined this association over 10 years ago, there's no program. No program
Hold on, Kojo. Hannah,
sitting down.
Hold on, Kojo. Hannah, he's saying that the chickens were given at the wrong time. Hence, probably, maybe half of them died, or that's why how come they haven't paid? I mean, was they a good timing or a bad timing to give out chickens?
Well, I don't think that it was done in a vacuum. I don't think that that decision was made, from the minister's office. But I will not want to go too much into some of these things because, we are now back with them. We want to sit with the Poultry Farmers Association. Now we are working on the Poultry Farmers Council to regulate, the poultry production in Ghana. And I'm sure that some of these things will come, will fall in place. But since government took a step to help, I think that any farmer who benefited, you look at the situation, and for government to be encouraged to go on, it was like a pilot. When you do a pilot project and it doesn't work out, you don't continue with the project. And so we should do what it takes. Some of the excuses that we got was that because there was so much meat, poultry imports on the market, so people did not want to buy the local birds. And of course, because somebody wants just a chicken thigh and the wings and whatnot. So that they have brought actually a comprehensive proposal, which looks good, where it's like a value chain sort of, where the DOC, as he put it, the DOCs, gets there and they leave the farm. If they are not bought live, they go through a processing plant. Then, we cut them in the sizes that people like. Then, there will be some sort of an off-taker from some companies that will be taking these products from the farmers. So this one has gone down, and we don't want to even get into who made the mistake or who did not. The most important thing is that we've actually identified all the difficult areas, and we are discussing with them. And the other good side is that good part is that the association, the leadership that come to meet us, they have also agreed. They accept when they know that something went wrong on their part, and I think that is good. It's not for me to now sit here and discuss those issues. Okay. And government is also ready to help. I think that this feed issue is something that we're going to look at properly and see if we can do something similar as with the fertilizers for our poultry farmers. And then we're also going to put system in place to check, to make sure that the subsidies that we give is for the benefit of the people of Ghana, because we are losing the revenue.
Okay, government is losing the break, and when I come back, I want to find out at the moment how much of the poultry that we use is derived from locally and how much is coming in from elsewhere. What's the percentage split? Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back. Just before we went on the break, I wanted to find out what the split is, but I think Kojo is still on the line, so I'll go to Kojo. Kojo.
Hello.
How much of the poultry do your association produce as compared to what we import from outside? What's the percentage split?
Now you produce about 5%.
Whoa.
I'm talking about the broiler.
Mm-hmm.
For the broiler meat, we are producing about 5%.
Okay.
But the export from outside is about 150,000 metric tons to 200,000 metric tons. I get the statistics from U.S. Poultry and Egg Export Council. But we produce for the broiler only 5%. Even for Christmas, Ramadan, and the Easter.
And that's 5%?
Yes.
95 we bring from outside?
Yes.
So then, well, thank you very much, Kojo. Thank you for joining us on the show. Hannah, in that case, you need to be really careful as to how much you stop from coming in. Because if you go ahead and revolutionize your cut, which I agree in a way, and you siphon off even 20%, that will be a major headache for Kojo and his members.
Nana, you see, in everything that we do, there's a challenge. There should be a challenge, and we should be ready to face that challenge. As a country, we can't eat our cake and still want to have it. If we keep looking at this, they go to 5% because we allowed cheap imports into the country. And we kind of abandoned the local production. Some time back, Nigeria was in the same state as we do. And they took a drastic decision, stopped all imports from the cheap point of entry, and said everybody should come through the airports. Today, Nigeria's poultry industry it's gone up and is feeding them and probably even exporting some poultry product out of their country. And so we can't say because of that. Eventually, Nana, I'm telling you that pretty soon it will be 100% imports. And so what then do we do? So we have to start from somewhere. We have to start cutting gradually, but we'll be cutting whilst we'll be supporting in all the ways that we can the local production. We are happy that the Poultry Farmers Association, they are also now very ready to cooperate and collaborate with us.
Realistically, what timelines are we talking? Realistically? Let's say 20%, to produce 20% of what we need here.
He said something very interesting. They have the structures in place. Mm-hmm. We have farms that had capacity of 40,000 birds. Today, they're only doing just about 9,000 birds because of all the challenges that, maybe probably those who are buying from them now, they are importing cheap, from outside, so they'll no more go there. Okay, and so we have the structures, and they are all over. You go to Ashanti region and Bronga, we have very huge poultry farmers. We have feed mills that we can also come up and revive with the proposals that we have on the table. And it's not just something that we wanted to stay on the table. In fact,
but we've heard it before.
No, that's what I'm saying, that we are working on these issues by the day. It's not something that we are playing with at all. And almost on daily basis, the minister is asking for briefing. Where have you gotten to? What are you doing? What can I do? So he has us on our toes, and they are also pushing. And we're also pushing them. And so we are all meeting at a certain point. So we have, there's a proposal for, let's say, the next 5 years, for instance, producing, I've forgotten the figure, but it looks very good. Okay, now we have to work with the animal production department, the veterinarians, and the farmers themselves. We have to come together, and then we have to make sure that this works, because we are not going to look at the 95% of import and say because of that they are producing 5%. They got at 5% because of the cheap imports. And eventually those producing the 5% also stop, and they'll go, then if we'll be having 100%. So, Nana, it may not sound very palatable to people who are importing, but we are determined to take that step forward, to make sure that we boost the local industry. We are not just going to say we are stopping it while we are not. We are doing it, side by side. That's why we're going to do it gradually.
What, as a state, what made we lose interest? Because I'm sure that we didn't just wake up one morning and then started producing 5%. It just happened over time when things are dwindling and dwindling. As a state, why did we let it get to that stage before? Now, I mean, you are in the sector, so maybe you've read briefings. What happened? Why did we lose hope in poultry?
I think that at a point it was it had to do with funds. Farmers were losing their birds, and the interest rate on credits and other stuff. So these things, it discouraged. Some farmers actually went into real estate and left, the poultry industry. Probably some of them too, because of outbreaks, they lost their birds, and then they owe banks and the repayment and all that. And I think that there was a little bit of disconnect also with the state, as to what are our real problems or what we need from the state. And sometimes the truth is also that some of us, we go for loans and we don't pay back. So if even government wants to help and you need money, the truth is that government does not have the money to give our loans to you. We may support in a way, but you need to work with the banks. So it's whether you are credit worthy or not, that is what is going to happen. But now we are working at all these things. We are putting the cards on the table without, shielding anything, so that we will really know that the real situation and where government can come in to help if we have to talk.
Kojo has really, killed my argument, because you see, I was going to try and see if we can have something like an agric fund. At the end of the day, that's why Agric Bank was set up. Some softer loans which have lesser interest than the street value. And I was actually looking for an article which Kojo himself, was complaining. I think he was the best farmer 2007 or something, and he was complaining about high interest rates and everything, but now he sounded different. So I didn't know how to argue on his behalf. I was really, going to go for the associations. I was on your side, but everything seems to find it. But other than that, could the sector have like a soft loan? With not the normal 20%.
Well, we don't have the funds. Government does not have the funds to give our loans. If you give to poultry farmers, you have to look for the loans for every farmer. Okay. Then that over the years, the ministry has been predominantly crops ministry, and so I think a lot of interest was actually pushed towards crops, and gradually, the livestock side was being left behind.
Hannah, let me digress a little bit. The amount we put in crops and the yield that came out was not proportional at all. Could we now push it into livestock and see if it will be beneficial, because the crops are not yielding?
We can't rope it out to people. If the crops are not yielding, it might be for a reason. Remember that we depend on usually the rains, but now government has put in a lot of mechanization systems in place. And so definitely we know the challenges why it did not yield at a particular time. And we work at it.
Well,
we should work.
My little investigation says that even though we put in 14% of total revenue, too much of it went into pickups and four-wheel drives and more like offices and stuff like that. And that's why, the yield did not come, because all that money did not actually go into the crop itself.
Well, Nana, I will not be able to say this, but probably if it's a project that was being embarked on, you can't do a project in a vacuum. You can't say you don't need the vehicles. You see, there's something that goes on that we really need to face it. You can't say that you don't need vehicles, pickups, or let's say four-wheel drives to be able to visit the farms. Okay, you need them. You need the officers. You need the administrative part to make it work. And so when an amount comes, it may have been for a period. So you started when you have the pickups and when you have the officers, the next time round, the money much more is going to go into the production. Supposing that you just give this money into the crops and there are no vehicles for the officers to go around.
Now it's the other way around. Now we have the vehicles but no crops to visit.
No, I'm sure that they are working at it. I'm very sure that is being worked on. So it doesn't mean that we should reduce the crop side and then send it to livestock. No, we have to also find a means of supporting the livestock, just as the crops have been supported. Okay, now when you go to the field, you have very few veterinarians to go around, and they don't even have vehicles, to go around to the farms and support these farmers. So when the farmers are having problems, if they don't have a vehicle that will come to them, or the vet is sitting at the office, probably a little corner, and waiting because they don't have the means of transport.
What's the way forward? Because as far as Agric is concerned, as a nation, we've let ourselves down.
Exactly. I think the way forward, we're talking about the feed, for instance. Something that we are thinking of looking at is, coming into some sort of agreement with some of the importers, and even with the Poultry Farmers Association themselves. I think that some of the importers, if they get them to join the association, and we will have some price, we will do the price at the reasonable price price that when you compare to all the taxes that they enjoy, what is a reasonable price that you can sell to the farmer so that you make your profit, and then the farmer also, they also make their profit, because remember the government has taken part of your cost by way of the taxes.
Can we regulate the prices? Just 30 seconds. Can we regulate the prices?
I'm sure that we can put measures in place to work at it, if not in totality, but to a greater extent, yes, we can.
Thank you very much. It looks like we need a part 2, don't we? The issues are so big. Maybe we have to look at the crop size of our grape and see how we can help that boost as well. Thank you very much for watching PM Express. Tomorrow we'll be back to do it all over again. My name is Nana Ansakwa. Nana, thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nana.
You're welcome.